In this video, I am going to paint this painting for you here, which I used 16 of the colors that I use most often in my palette. In another video that I had just recorded as well, I swatched out for you the 16 colors, which I recommend you have in your watercolor palette. If you want to paint flowers. So if you haven't watched that one already and you want to watch that one, you can just click here on the card. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and watch this one and you'll see all the 16 colors that I'll use anyway. If you've been hanging around my channel for a while, I thank you so much. But if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. It will really help me grow my channel. And with that said, let's dive right into the video. So I'm going to be using Fabriano Artistico paper. This is about a quarter sheet, which works out to 15 by 11. Yes, and the brushes I will be using will be my flat brushes. I have a 1-inch flat, Princeton Heritage. I have a 3/4. I've got a size 12 round. I've got my silver black velvet, which is I have a 12 and an 8. I've got my size 6 round and I've got my liner brush. I will just probably grab these at different times, so I have them just waiting by the side. Okay, let's begin straight away. I am going to create big blooms because I've got nice large paper, so my 1-inch flat will be nice for that. Okay, the first color I want to grab is Scarlet. So just making a nice pool of Scarlet Lake here. Getting a nice juicy mix. And then creating that first big petal here of what would be sort of like a generic flower. So it could be a poppy, it could be something fluffy. And going into my opera and just caressing some of those petals with a bit of opera rose there. Scarlet and opera rose just are best friends. They work so well together. The next one, I'm maybe going to grab my gamboge and I'll be doing a flower that's just sort of like facing this direction here. Another big billowy flower that's close to the first one. And then maybe dropping a little bit of orange as well as a bit of permanent rose right into the middle there. Doesn't that look lovely? Fabriano paper is one of my most favorite brands to use. I really feel that it retains the vibrancy of the paint. It holds water so well and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous paper. Alright, so maybe part of this little bouquet, I'm gonna grab my lemon yellow and make a slightly smaller flower here, sticking out. Not slightly, it's actually quite small, quite a lot smaller. And in the middle of that, perhaps dropping some opera as well, just to create a bit of little harmony between the 3 flowers there. Pretty. Let's create another sort of like continue flowing downwards. Permanent rose is a nice one, mixing a bit of dragon's blood there. So dragon's blood, permanent rose. Sometimes I just like to mix on the paper. I don't even bother like doing a mixture there. And it creates a lot of really interesting sort of look. Ah, that's so pretty. And looking down, what else should I use? Maybe back to my Scarlet, but a very, very, very light wash to create maybe a really light flower here. So just changing up the hues and changing up the values, and the values usually mean the lightness or darkness of a flower. I feel like quinacridone coral would be a nice one here. Just completing a nice little trio. And perhaps just doing a little moment of opera here. Okay, now we're just going to balance out all the colors now. Gonna set aside my giant brush for a moment because we are getting tighter on space and going into the 3/4 inch. Let's balance it out by having a little yellow moment here. So what I mean by balancing out is, now that we've got all the different colors and different blooms everywhere, we want to like let the eye be comfortably traveling along the page rather than stopping and staring at that one color flower. So we do that by distributing the flowers around. So we have a yellow here, we have a yellow there. Maybe we have a little orange moment here because we've got that gamboge orange flower there. And with this practice, I'm not even thinking like, oh, what flower is this? Is this a daffodil? Is this a rose or whatever? It's just a practice in color, in balance, in composition, and of course in trying to use all the colors of my palette. I haven't forgotten about the mauve. Hello, little mauve. Mauve is fun to do, like lavendery filler flower sort of thing. So just maybe dabbing, dab, mixing the mauve up with permanent rose to give it a bit of lift. Cobolt Blue to create maybe like a little hydrangea situation, using all the different angles of my brush, touching the other flowers to create a bit of bleed. Taking it in, letting the paint breathe with a bit of pause. And at this point, I'm feeling the urge to do one little orange moment, maybe here as well, a smaller one. So just to pull the eyes back up there, okay, because it was getting a bit heavy down here. And of course, it feels like there's this line in between. I need to break up that line somehow. And I feel like a bit of darkness. So dragon's blood mixed with my mauve, okay, and maybe a bit of indigo, more dragon's blood, to create maybe these interesting spiky kind of moments. Some almost chocolate color. And then let's see, I'm feeling a little more hydrangeas could help in these sections here. So just working around the page, filling up your page with color, with little gorgeous moments of sprinkling. And let's do a really light, creamy flower. So getting that lemon yellow with lots of water, maybe just a hint of azo green. Create a little soft light. Ah! That's not azo green. What happened? Never mind. It's fine. That could be another sort of like dark flower here. Oh my gosh. Sometimes that happens when you go too fast. So take your time and breathe and slow down. Telling myself, okay, where's that light yellow moment? And just gonna place that around here. Maybe almost a bulby kind of bulb. And I just want to say that you know what this thing needs, and we all know what it needs. We need some leaves. But before we put the leaves down, I'm going to put some stems. All right, so grabbing my size 12 round. And my size 12 round have a really nice sharp pointy edge for this one. So it's a pretty new brush, that's why I like it. So I'm just going to send some stems in different directions. And you might be asking, like, why do I need stems? What is this? Are we drawing a vase? And no, sometimes stems are just a fun way to indicate a bit of movement. It definitely doesn't need to be a feature, but definitely movement. Okay, and now the leaves. Yes! The leaves, sap green, my Winsor Newton sap green, which I love so much. Get a big pool of it there. With my flat brush, I'm going in to pull out some beautiful leaves. And there's not much space for these leaves actually. Because I really filled it up with lots of flowers, but that is okay. I also like to sometimes use my size 12 round or any size round. My silver black velvet gives these gorgeous leaves. Shadow green, I haven't used you yet. So this is when I sometimes use that shadow green to create a bit of darkness, a bit of dark green. So have some green going in between, some greens going out to the side, out to the corners. And then you want to get a very nice light green. You can either add yellow with your green or green with your yellow, whichever. And go in there to get some lighter greens. And you know, there's this rule, they say watercolor, you cannot go from dark to light, you have to go light to dark. But sometimes I cheat and I just go in with lighter leaves right at the end like this. As long as you're careful and you don't go over, you just go behind, it's fine. My paper is starting to buckle a bit now. I should have taped it down, but that's fine. I think it's going to be all right. One way which I've learned online is to actually make sure that this stays nice and flat is to actually wet the back of the paper. And I wish I did it actually, because I think it would dry much nicer, but it's fine. Now we are going to add the centers. Okay, I'm not going to wait until completely dry because we started with the flowers. The flowers are dry enough for me to go into the centers without having it too terribly bleedy. And for centers, it's always nice to go in with a dark center. I sometimes use green, sometimes I use black or Payne's gray, and sometimes obviously the yellow stamen works well. But I'm feeling like this is screaming for a nice dark center, which I am going to just do so right now. And this pink one as well. Just use a thin brush if you like. Use a thicker one if you don't mind. Let's try Sap Green on this one here. That's nice, like that. And maybe a yellow one, a yellow, lemon yellow stamen for, let me see. I think this one would be nice to have a bit of that yellow, sort of like little dots around. It's okay, let's go into this one here. Adding stamens are always a really nice way to let the eye land on your flowers, so it just brings the viewer into the middle of each flower so that, you know, it can settle in. Yeah, some green gold for here. Sometimes you can just go dot 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 all around, or you can just do a big blob, or you can do many small little dots, whatever you feel like, or do a combination of both. It's fine too. Let's do a pink center for this one, just for fun. There are no rules. This is not realistic flowers that you're trying to create. These are flowers from my imagination, which is sometimes I'm a bit afraid to do because I'm not convinced that I can think up anything cool or fun or nice, so I get a bit scared. It's alright, sometimes it's fun to just play and not get so hung up on, ooh, it's gonna look like this, it's gonna look like that. I'm gonna grab some indigo here to just dab into these hydrangeas type flowers. Create a bit of layers, a bit of shadow. Taking a step back to just look at your painting, admire it from afar. And then what I'm going to do now is actually going into the middle of this center and placing a bit of that green just at the bottom of that stamen. And then you can stop right here, or we can wait for it to dry and then go on with details. But for the sake of this video, because the whole point of me painting this is really just to show you how my palette works on a floral number, and I've used all the colors to paint this painting. And there you have it. The 16 colors that I use most often in my palette. The 16 colors are all linked below down there in the description, and the painting which came out were from those 16 colors. Let me know in the description below what you feel is a crucial color for your watercolor palette that I haven't in mind. Thank you for following me and for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.